What's going on, everybody? Kelly Cavallera here, one half of 7 Era Media, and welcome to the Honky Tonk Highway. Here, we're going to do things a little different. First off, you're used to seeing me behind the camera, not in front of it. Little change of pace, you get to see my beautiful face for a change. Second thing is, we're not going to do any dancing. This is going to be Q&A with some of your favorite people, instructors, choreographers, DJs, event directors, and we're not just going to limit to events. I'm going to bring in DJs from clubs, some of the local people that do this every day of the week. Don't forget, subscribe here, right here on Facebook or YouTube. We're live on both places right now. 7 Era Media. We're going to do this for starters 3 times this week. Today, Wednesday, and Friday, 5 p.m. every day Eastern. Trying not to clash with any of the live stuff going on. So without further ado, our first guest for the first episode. Y'all know him from all over Florida. He's made it all over the world. He's choreographed some of the hit dances like Sugar Rush, Out Like That, and Going Ham. One of my close and dear friends. Say hello to Mr. Trevor Thornton. What's going on, T?
What's happening, brother? How are you?
Pretty good. Thank you for being the first guest on this little adventure I decided to do. Took a little whim, Do what?
I said thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. First off, give us a little history of for those who don't know who you are at home.
Oh my goodness. Well, my name's Trevor. I'm born and raised right here in Orlando, Florida. Lived here my whole life and been a part of line dancing. Oh my goodness, since I was 14 years old. Started dancing as a teenager and started going to a local club called Cowboys Orlando that kind of offered a team night back in the day. They don't do that any longer, which looking back was actually a really brilliant idea they had to kind of force the teenagers from all over locally to go to a spot to hang out. It was open to only, you had to be 14 to 18 years old to get in, and it was for teens only. There was no alcohol served in the bar on that Friday nights, and that's kind of where I started learning how to line dance and picking it up and wearing my Wranglers and my belt buckle and the cowboy hat, and that's where Trevor, I started. And then,
do me a favor, repeat some of that. I just had to put your audio back up. Your audio was a little low on that one.
No problem. I was just saying where I'm from. I'm from here in Orlando. Started line dancing when I was a youngster, a teenager. Local club here offered a teen night, and it was for teens only. That's where I started dancing, learning honky tonk, line dancing, the good old country stuff that we all love and still enjoy. And let's see, I was a Wrangler, wearing boot buckle, wearing cowboy hat, wearing line dancer, thought I knew everything. Got introduced to the very well-known Guyton, who kind of took me under his wing and introduced me to a whole nother world of line dancing that I never, ever expected. And I think that the majority of people watching this are most likely familiar with the line dance circuit. And so, one of the local instructors, when I turned 18, Janice Graves, she's instructor over at the barn in Sanford, where I also teach. She kind of took me to my first event, which was the Tampa Bay Line Dance Classic, put on by JC Dance Productions, and really just expanded my horizons. Guyton was an instructor there, and I knew him. I was familiar with him, and so he kind of guided me and taught me to just, pay attention. Go to every single class you can. Go take lessons from every single instructor you can. And at that point is whenever things really took off for me, and I mean, that's it. I'm local here to Florida. I've been very blessed that in 2015 I won that USL DCC, which is the United States Line Dance Choreography Competition. You're very familiar with that as well.
I am, and you did. And that was what I kind of did the day of, for those who don't know, every day on YouTube, I have been sharing some walkthrough videos on 7 Era Media, as well as a throwback every day, a throwback at noon. And today's throwback in honor of Trevor was his competition of Sugar Rush. I chose that over out like that, because I feel Sugar Rush is that dance that really put you on the map that year and took you to that level where everyone started to recognize what you could really do. And that's why I chose that over the one that you actually won with, Out Like That, which are both great, amazing dances. But that's why I use Sugar Rush as that to throwback today, get everyone a little prep for seeing your smiley face today on camera. For those who did participate, we did get some. I did ask y'all to send in some questions to hashtag askthehighway. Questions for Trevor, and I did tell him. He asked me all day, hey, what are these questions? I go, I'm not telling you. I was going to let this be a total surprise. That way he couldn't turn around and plan what he was going to say.
Well, I tell you what, you and I have kind of discussed today. We've gone back and forth all day thinking about this. And, it's funny that both of us, have shared that we were nervous about this. And, my girlfriend had even mentioned, she said, why are you nervous? You don't ever get nervous at stuff like that. And I said, well, I don't ever get nervous with that kind of stuff because generally I'm prepared. I know what I'm going to teach, or I know what I'm going to do and say when I get up in front of hundreds of people. This is something Kelly will not tell me anything. And I guess my biggest fear is that, out of any of these questions, I end up, forgetting someone who is, a really good friend, or forgetting to mention somebody who deserves to be mentioned of some sorts. And I just want to make sure I don't forget anybody. So I was hoping to try and prepare, but you wouldn't let me do that. So that's all right. We'll fly by the seat of our pants here. No biggie.
Well, yeah, I was nervous because usually I'm the one behind the camera. I'm not usually the one in front of the camera. I'm usually the one that gets behind and just gets to watch everything that's on camera unfold and sit back and enjoy the ride of what happens. But this time I'm in front of the camera hosting this thing. But it's something that I've really been passionate about for a while, and I've talked to not only Trevor but some of my closest friends for like the last year. This is a project I really wanted to do, and we got the comments coming in rolling the minute you put that drink up, asking pretty much what's in that cup, and I think everyone already knows that answer.
Oh,
it is after
are people
5 o'clock. Oh yeah, we could say it. Go ahead. It's after 5 o'clock.
Oh, I'm not even looking to see what people are saying. I guess I should try and put this up.
I don't worry. I got you covered. A couple people have asked, how old are you?
How old am I?
How old are you?
How young am I, you mean?
Well, yeah, Mr. You are definitely young.
Here we go. I see us live here. Okay, very cool. Oh, I'm not even looking. I didn't see all this online. I didn't have it on a separate screen. I was trying to just focus on you. Well,
I'm 34 down,
34 years young. Let me turn that down.
34 years young. What would it be like to be 34 again?
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up to you with all that wisdom, man.
All right, so I'm going to start off with the first question I got asked. I got sent this pretty much the day I put this out. We had someone ask...
now, are you going to tell me who asked the questions as well, or we're keeping that anonymous?
Oh, no, I'll ask you. I believe her name... Hold on.
I mean, you don't have to.
The first one, I forgot to write down the name of the person who asked me, but I'll look it up and I'll actually tell you. But they would like to know how you do your body rolls so well, and how did you learn how to body roll the way you do? I'm pretty sure lots of the ladies and maybe some of the gentlemen out there would like to know this question.
Oh my goodness. Okay. How do I do them? I don't know. It wasn't one of those things where I promise I never stood in front of the mirror and practiced or anything crazy like that. I just learned from just watching, going to different instructors, going to different classes back in the day and learning. And I want to say what sticks out in my brain right off rip is probably Jamie Marshall. She had the most realistic way to explain how to do a body roll. And, it was always funny, and it really kind of just connected with me. And so that's kind of how I learned to do it. And I don't know, nobody ever believes me or realizes, but I'm actually half Cuban. And so I guess, maybe that's where some of that body roll stuff comes from. And I think that they just asked that question because they wanted to see me blush on camera live.
I can promise you it was not me that asked that question. Um, so the second question I had, and actually I'll tell you who did this. They posted this today on Facebook. It came from Big Jim Stankiewicz, who will be the guest on the highway on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Big Jim,
Yeah.
shout out to my boy. And you already know this question. You do know this one. So
Saw him
he
post
wants to
this one.
know which was your craziest experience at an event overseas.
At an event overseas. Okay, so I had time to think about this one a little bit. And right away, the first thing that comes to mind is when I went to, oh my goodness, probably when I went to England for World Dance Masters. And I remember I was there with Jennifer Cameron, who she went with me, which was so awesome because I would not have known what to do without her. And of course, she had me, the very first night I was super nervous. There were all of these people at the event that I didn't know. And I'm very well known for being outgoing and I'm not very shy, but I was terrified in a room full of fantastic and phenomenal instructors, choreographers. I didn't know what was going on, and I was a bit overwhelmed, and I got very shy. And she says, "You need to go around this room, and you need to introduce yourself and get every single person's name that you can." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "No way." Well, in the process of doing that, and after a couple drinks, I came across the table of dancers that were from Sweden.
Oh boy.
And they invited me to try. They said, "You got to do shots with us." And I was like, "I'm in. Like, let's do some shots." Well, they had these little bitty, I don't know, I'm sure you've seen them, but they're these little bitty, they look like thimbles, like almost like a little sample cup of this stuff called blah. I think blah. And they were different, like they had different flavors. And so these were these little cups. And the girl lined up a whole, like, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 of them. And they're just very little, man. I'm telling you, very super small. And I was like, oh, okay, we're doing shots. And they're kind of gathering people like, come on, let's do these. Well, in that process, I thought I misunderstood. A little bit of a communication error there. I thought I was supposed to try each one of them and the flavor to tell them what I liked. So I drank all of them. And sorry, I lost you there for a second. Someone was trying to call me.
You're good. We're still good.
So I tried all of them, and I was hammered. And that was a memory that stuck out most. And I remember that she turned around to come back to do shots with a bunch of people, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, you drank all of them?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I thought I was supposed to." And was not a good idea. She was like, "Oh my gosh," she's like, "You are gonna be messed up. I can't believe you drank all of them." Because here in the States, at our local bars, we have 2.5, 4 ounce pours of shots. So I just thought they were, I thought that they were samples. So, I mean, that's one. Another time, I have so many stories. I'm sure that there's so many other people who have way better stories. But, something that sticks out was, going to Barcelona, Spain, my very first trip there with Guyton. God, that's all that really needs to be said there. I went with Guyton to Spain, and we had an absolute blast. That was a lot of fun.
Any story that starts with Guyton, and that could be interesting. So another question we had just got asked is, Chris would like to know any significance to your necklace you wear.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is, I consider myself to be a believer in Christ. I won't go into too much religion or politics or anything like that. Promised myself I wouldn't do that. But this is just a symbol of what they call the Jesus fish. And, it represents, how Jesus fed, a whole group of people with, just a few fish and a loaf of bread. He fed many people. And so it's symbolic representation of Jesus to me. So I wear it every day.
Nice. All right. Enough of the fun. Enough of the calm stuff. Let's get real here.
Oh man.
Let's get real.
All right. What's up?
So, we've known each other for a very long time. We've choreographed together, danced together, all a bunch of stuff. Competed against each other, competed with each other. Today's actually the 1 year anniversary of a dance we wrote, Sunshine 365. We wrote that 1 year ago today and debuted it at your class at the Barn in Sanford. Amazing establishment.
Really cool. Yeah.
You've taught in clubs. You've taught at little workshops. You taught at monstrous events, Stagecoach, Vegas Dance Explosion, two of the biggest ones I know of. You taught at private parties. What is your favorite thing, like teaching experience? What would you rather do if you had to choose? If you had to stay with one of the three or four?
If I had to wait, so what? Sorry, reword the question.
If you had to pick what your favorite teaching experience is, whether it is teaching in a club to people, teaching at a little workshop where there are only maybe 100 people, teaching at a huge event in front of 1,500 people, what would be your favorite thing to do?
Okay. See, I misunderstood. So that's almost kind of like a two-part question. I thought what you were asking was what was my most memorable teaching experience at what event, which I have an answer for that, and I'll answer it quickly. It definitely has to have been Stagecoach. When I got on stage, and I kid you not, there had to have been 1,500 to 2,000 people, and to watch every single one of those people do a dance that I choreographed, and I went through, and I remember teaching it, and I felt like it was 5 minutes, but it was like 20-minute teach. And I remember walking off stage, walking back into a trailer that they had set up for us, and sitting down on the couch by myself in this little trailer. And I remember going, what just happened? I mean, the adrenaline and the excitement and the people cheering and so excited to have learned that dance was so crazy awesome. It was just, that was the most memorable teach. I can tell you that. That was at Stagecoach back in like 2016 or 17. It was the first year that they did the Honky Tonk at Stagecoach. I can tell you that. Shout out to Anne-Marie and all of those guys up there in California who continue to do that. Crystal and Alea. There were so many, Christopher Gonzalez, and, you know, there were so many people. I don't even want to name anymore because I'll forget people, but it's amazing. But to answer your question directly, what do I prefer? God, that's really difficult because you know what? Anytime that I get the opportunity to teach, I love it, no matter really where I'm at. But if I had to choose, like if I was forced, I would probably take a good old honky tonk country bar, man. That's my roots. That's kind of where I learned, and I think that's probably where I would go. I mean, I feel like that's where a lot of my strengths are, with everything that I do. I feel like that's probably what I would have to choose, the good old honky tonk bar. I really enjoy teaching the beginners, and I love teaching the country stuff. I love watching, I've watched so many of my friends over the last 12 years, close friends that have come in and learned some of the basic beginner stuff and just watched them grow and grow and grow to where now they're taking classes from, Fred and Shane and Rachel and Rebecca Lee and doing all this crazy stuff and stuff that I can remember, and I look at them and I never really say anything, but I just look back and I can think and remember when they first started, and it just amazes me to know that they started and couldn't do anything, and then now they're doing these amazing advanced dances and they're just smiling and loving it, and I think that that's really cool. I like the beginner stuff. I like the easy, country bar stuff. So that's what I think I would choose if I had to.
Nice. And of course, I'm sure you're going to pick teaching at the Barn in Sanford. You're home away from home.
If you were to ask what was my favorite honky tonk bar to teach at, that would be really, really difficult. The Barn is definitely my home. The Barn in Sanford, it's definitely my home. They gave me my very first opportunity to start teaching. I love working with Janice. She's phenomenal. I love working with Lynn. She's amazing. But you know what? I can't leave out some of the other local places that I teach at. I do enjoy Cowboys Orlando. I like to teach there. I definitely always have to change things up when I teach there. It's a totally different dance crowd. So when I go there, I have to really, really tone it down to ultra beginner. But you know what? As an instructor, that's very humbling because that's not always easy. Sometimes that's even more difficult than teaching an advanced class full of dancers who know what they're doing. So, working with Suzanne over there, she's phenomenal. I love South Florida. South Florida's a great time. They know how to party. Nothing like up in North Carolina at Joe's. Those guys are insane.
Yes.
Not even going to credit them.
That's a totally different level.
Oh man, Will Craig teaches up there, and that bar is nuts. But no matter where it's at, I'm teaching. I love to just be able to share the floor, and especially whenever they're doing something that I choreographed. I love just getting to watch people enjoy it and watching the variations that people put into these dances that I choreograph. It's always just so much fun.
That is very good. So I just got asked a couple questions. One, let me go first. Johnny Madison wants to know, Jesse Black was the first one you actually taught at, correct?
Jesse Black's Orlando was probably my favorite country bar by far. That's a home run out of the park, Johnny. Seriously.
And the funny thing is, I left teaching there and DJing there like 2 weeks before you started because I moved up to New Hampshire, and that's funny. That's how we missed pass and didn't meet till way after.
Yeah, no, I started working there and working with a really great staff, and that's when I first got to meet Glenn Bocott and
DJ Decade.
DJ Decade. Yep, I got to meet him, and then that's kind of where our relationship and our friendship started and built. And he and I have worked together for many years now. He's an awesome DJ, awesome man, good dad. He's no longer really in it. He's pretty much retired now, but he was a huge influence on me making the choices I did in line dance, to be honest. So yeah, Jesse Black's was the very first country bar that I ever started teaching in. And shortly after that, it was the barn that gave me a full-time home when Jesse Black's had shut down.
All right. Huge shout out also to Glenn's lighting guy who started there, was known now as DJ Larry Swag, the swag man from the barn. Started at Jesse Black's with all of us. Would kill to get Swag on here. Local DJ who DJs at the barn in Sanford, who definitely knows the local scene up there in Orlando. A couple people asked up here, and I'm going to let you talk as much or as little about this next topic as you like. A couple people are asking about your ankle injury and how that came about and your recovery.
Oh man! Okay.
So I'll let you decide how much or how little you want to diverge about that. I do remember that as like it was yesterday, getting that phone call and that picture of your ankle that looked like the size of a football.
I tell you, to be honest, as horrible of an accident as that was, it was probably one of the most humbling experiences in my life. I think that at that time in my life, I really truly feel like I was getting a little too big for my britches, as they would say, in the dance community, and I was getting a little cocky and a little arrogant, and that experience most definitely humbled me and made me really truly appreciate everything that I have and everything I've learned, and it definitely brought me down to a much more realistic level. And, to answer what everybody's wanting to know, I was on a trip with some friends down in the Keys, and we'll just say that there was a lot of alcohol involved. And I decided that it was probably a good idea to try and climb a fence to get to the other side. There was somebody on the other side who was in need. I was trying to get to them, and the only way I thought to be the smartest way was to climb the fence, not knowing, hold on one second. Reps! My dog just ran out the front yard. Awesome. Brianna, if you're watching, can you go get the dog? I'm gonna let him go. Hopefully, he doesn't go too far. But so back to it. I climbed a fence. I didn't know it was a tennis court fence at the time. It was very dark. Once again, a lot of alcohol involved. I don't know if many of you are familiar with climbing a fence. That's not the hard part. It's climbing down a fence. I decided not to do that. It didn't look like it was that far. I kind of just jumped off the fence, and I landed on that concrete of the tennis court and shattered my right calcaneus. Completely shattered it, and didn't even go to the emergency room right away. I didn't get to the emergency room for about a week and a half after I did that, whenever they were like, I don't know how you're even this much pain and standing it. And, Jack Daniels was my best friend at that time. And, finally got it all healed up and had surgery. Told me I'd never dance again, which was horrible. That was a crushing time. And I really had to start rethinking a lot of my life, because dance is still, but was a huge passion of mine. And to be told that you're never going to do something that you love so much again. And I just remember, a lot of prayers and a lot of following the doctor's instructions, not trying to push it, but following the rules, doing all my rehab, and then came back a year after that, and that was the year that I started competing, and that was the year I won the USLDCC, and so that was really cool that I was able to get back out there and do it again. But I'm sure some of you guys can remember seeing me at some of the events in a wheelchair. I wasn't supposed to walk, but I still was able to go to some of the events and support. And I think I even still did some classes at the barn where I taught from a wheelchair and had somebody else be my feet. So
I remember taking you out to the barn and out downtown for the first time, wheeling you around in a wheelchair, and we threw the wheelchair in the back of your truck and took you out drinking and just took turns rolling you around. And
oh yeah,
the first couple times, I remember those days. Speaking of the USLDCC, what was your favorite experience from that? What did you like the most about that whole year?
About that whole year? Honestly, so I have to be honest, I never had planned to compete. I had never had any desire to really compete. It was the first thing, that was the first competition I had ever really heard of or had seen, because I was so fresh and new into the circuit and into the events. And, Jennifer Cameron had really kind of pushed me. She's like, just try it. Just do it. What's the worst that can happen, And remember, James Pruitt and I, we had entered Dance All Night that we had choreographed together. It's just a simple little easy bar dance, what we would call bar dance. And we entered it just to enter it because, we were trying to build the USLDCC, and they were, Jen was pushing us, come on, just sign up, to have people out there to compete, to really kind of kick this thing off. It was the first year they were doing it. And he and I never in a million years would have thought that dance would have done anything. And actually, surprisingly enough, they do that dance at a lot of bars still to this day. I think DJ Larry Swag plays that at the barn still every single week, and they love it. It's a floor filler. I know they've done it at quite a few other bars. Anyway, so we did that dance, and it won, which meant that we had to enter more, and then you had to keep competing. So, I think learning the process of how the competitions work was really cool. Learning that there were rules intact that you had to follow. I think the competition was awesome. As far as the other dancers that were competing at the same time I was. I think that the thing I enjoyed most about all of that was challenging myself to do better each time. To not continue to use the same steps in every dance, but to try and just expand my horizons and put together different footwork, and I remember something that Rachel had taught me a long time ago, which I used a lot when I was choreographing, was that, whenever you get stuck, try and reverse everything you did, or start your weight on the opposite foot and do it backwards, or do it the opposite way. Don't just give up on the idea that you had, but just try it in a different pattern or backwards. And that's something that oddly has just always stuck with me, and it's always helped me. It's advice that I've given and passed on as well. Guyton always used to tell me, if you get stuck and you can't figure it out within 15 minutes, let it go. Leave it alone. Both great pieces of advice to take on. But I think that those were the most things I enjoyed for that competition, was just learning to challenge myself and being able to share my dances. That was, if it weren't for that competition, if it weren't for the USLDCC, I'm not sure that any of my stuff would have ever been recognized, seen, or known. People come to watch the competition and they see something they like, and it's like, that's how your dances become known. That's how people see them. Local instructors who are at dance events see that and they say, man, that's really cool. My class would love that. That music is really great. I know that even in the years after I've won, I still like to go to the competitions because I like to see what all of the choreographers compete with. Because if they have something the same, great track, good dance, I'll take it and I'll go teach it. I try to pay back exactly what was done for me. I know Sugar Rush that you shared today, that was I remember that dance. I remember choreographing that dance. And I remember Rachel loved that, and she took it and taught it around the world, which thank you so much, Rachel, if you're watching. That I think really put things on the map. People had never heard of Trevor Thornton, and if it weren't for her taking that dance and teaching it, I don't think that anybody may have ever heard or seen me, but at that point people started watching the competitions, and then you started offering the live feeds. That's a great opportunity for people to watch it and see it and watch the competitors try out their dances. It's an opportunity to really get your stuff out there so other people can see it.
All right, not to interrupt you, but Rob Glover has decided to join us live online. He says, hello, boys, what's up? And he asked, the sad thing is he asked a question that we actually do get a lot. He asked if we're related.
If you and I are related?
Yes.
Not by blood, but you're definitely one of my brothers. Yeah.
Yeah, that comes up between that and me getting asked if I'm Will Craig. Whether or not.
Are you saying that we look husky? Is that why? Is that why you think brothers? We're husky?
Trevor, they can't see from the shoulders down on either one of us, so they wouldn't know if we're chubby right now.
In both of our faces, man. It's all right.
Oh man. Which JP wants to know which one of us is the cute one. I don't know, JP. Which one of us is the cute one?
I don't know. JP probably wants us to recreate that Facebook TikTok video he just sent me about an hour and a half ago.
He sent that one to you too? He wanted me to play it live, and I'm not going to play it live, guys. If you want it, text JP Potter, who will actually be my guest here on Friday. So start getting your questions answered now for DJ Baby Boy Bunny Killer, because we're going to get him on the show. He will be on Friday. Chris Gonzalez wants to know, what was it like choreographing Mr. Put It Down with Rachel McEnany?
Does it look like I was frozen?
Well, you kind of look like you're thinking really hard there for a hot minute. Like you didn't want.
That's actually a really, really creative question, and I'm really glad that you asked. What's up, Christopher? Glad that you're watching. Thank you for watching, by the way, and thanks for your question. Everybody, thank you guys for your questions. This is so cool. It's so fun to do this. What was it like choreographing Mr. Put It Down with Rachel? Well, I will kind of give you a little background on that. I found a piece of music, and I shared it with Rachel, and many of you guys know Rachel, and she's an amazing choreographer, amazing instructor, MC. She's done it all. She is, the golden globe up there. So she's amazing. I remember she said, well, come on over and we'll work on it. So we did. And I was rushed, and because, any time that you get to work on a dance or something with Rachel, you stop everything you're doing and you're on her time. Like, you are on her time. You don't waste her time. So I was already nervous. I was very nervous because that track is not an easy track. It's fast. It's quick. But I'll tell you, we started working on it, and we just started putting stuff together. She would do something, and I would do something, and she was really she was kind of like the puzzle piece maker she would be like, yes, I love that. That's great. Yes, we're going to use that, but not there. We're going to take that. We're going to put it here. And I was like, well, okay, you know, I kind of wanted to do that here. She's like, no, that's shit. So, I'd be like, oh, okay, you know, but she actually taught me a lot, you know, other than just choreographing together. She taught me a lot while doing the choreography together in the manner of what to think about. You know, I had always learned how to count things out in a certain way when I was doing, when I was listening to a song. I would count things out. She taught me a totally different way to do it. And I was like, oh my gosh, why did I never learn this? And, you know, to see how she breaks it down and listen to try and hear the things that she's hearing and the things that she was paying attention to. And then to share with her the things that I was hearing and the things that I was feeling with the music. You know, after the first 25 minutes working together, things really kind of just meshed together. It really worked well. And, you know, I think that at the end, it was most, it was really rewarding to me to see how happy she was with our finished product, you know, because you never want to co-choreograph with somebody. And at the end, one of the people says, yeah, okay, well, I'm happy with it. Well, that doesn't seem very believable. You know, I could really tell she was happy with our finished product. And then for us both to be able to go and share it around the world, wherever we were teaching at the time, was a lot of fun. So it was a really good time. It was challenging, and it was humbling and a lot of fun all at the same time.
Cool, cool. In case you're wondering, Bree did get your dog. The dog is safe.
Thank God.
So the next one I'm going to ask and answer it as you may be. Someone posted the other day when they talked to Philip Sabrillo. I'm going to butcher your name. I'm sorry, Phil. He had said that the one dance he'd wish he had written himself was Natural Selection by Guyton. What is the one dance out there that if you had to think of off the top of your head that you wish that you had been the one to write?
Oh man, that's definitely a tough question. Yeah, it's funny because you mentioned that to me on the phone earlier, and I didn't think you were actually going to ask me that, so I didn't put any extra thought into it. If there was a dance that I wish I would have choreographed, I have two that come to mind right away because they're two of my absolute favorite dances. You know, I have to go with Unsteady by Guyton, simply because the music, the track really hit me in the feels. I loved that track. I loved the dance. I felt like the dance expressed that song beautifully. It was phenomenal dance. I really enjoyed teaching that one. I enjoyed dancing it still to this day. I actually remember that one, and I love it. So if I would have been able to at least have been a part of that, I think would have been really cool. And then the other one that comes to mind is probably one of my favorite line dances. So if you have that as a different question, then I'll answer it now. And that is Change My Ways by Roy Verdonk and the voice. So I love that dance. Same thing. The track is very bluesy, and I think it just flows so well. And I love that steps are completely different than any other dances that you may do. You know, it's just something that's a challenge because it's different, but it flows, it matches the music. I wish I could have been a part of that with the guys. So, yeah.
Okay, so right now the topic of discussion in the feed is what's going on behind you. They for those who can't tell, it is a fan. They think it's a propeller on your hat. They think that it looks like the way the fan is lined up. It's a propeller. So yeah, that's just a fan. He's outside. He's lucky like I am. We live in Florida. It's kind of a beautiful weather day today.
My back porch, my back patio out here, and I just thought it'd be nice to sit out here. And I put the fan on. You want to know? I put the fan on because I didn't want anybody to see how dusty that thing is.
Well, you probably also put the fan on because you're in Florida and it's a little hotter than.
Yeah, it is. It's actually not too bad today up here. Anyway, it's like I don't know, probably 84, but it's a little overcast. It looks like we might actually get some rain this evening.
Yeah, we got some rain earlier today down here in Boca Raton. Got some rain yesterday too, but nothing too bad. So that wasn't horrible. Um, I guess the other question I had, and this is me personally, I had, um, I know you're like, um, you go by faster, smoother dance. It was on the back of your truck for a while. Um, it's kind of your thing. You have an Instagram page on it. You have a Facebook page on it. It's kind of what you're known for. Where did that come about?
All right, that's a great question. So when I first started going to events, actually, let me back up a little bit. Before I got into the circuit, I was trying to learn. I was trying to get out there and learn how to make some money doing line dancing. Having fun. Well, there was a guy by the name of Kip Sweeney, who is still to this day a great instructor. He is a huge, energetic, motivation. He's like a much older Chris Gonzalez. He's got a lot of energy. He's a super good motivator, great MC, great DJ. So
for those who dance in the bar scene, you would know Kip Sweeney because he wrote the dance Cripple Creek. For those who dance in lots of country clubs, huge dance, especially here in Florida. One of the very first line dances I ever learned when I started going line dancing. But for those who don't know the name Kip Sweeney, I'm pretty sure you'll know the dance Cripple Creek. So back to you.
Yeah, he was. He also was the head line dance instructor at the Cheyenne Saloon in downtown Orlando back in the '80s when they were open. Not showing his age if you're listening, Kip. Sorry, but when he kind of took me around and he would allow me to work with him. He was a DJ, and he would allow me to work with him at holiday Christmas parties or big corporate venues and parties where he just needed some backup dancers to be on the floor and help people get up out of their chairs and participate while he taught lessons. So he allowed me to do that, and I really learned a lot from Kip. I truly did. In fact, my very first DJ system that I got was from Kip. He allowed me to earn that through working with him and gave me my first DJ setup and taught me how to DJ and taught me the basics of, the very bare basics of how to DJ. Because I'm not saying I'm a DJ. I don't need anybody on here getting mad saying, you're not a DJ. But, just the basics of DJing an event, corporate party, weddings. We did a lot of stuff together. And he used to always say different little key cues that always stuck with you. He used to say, shimmy, shimmy, shake it, or shake that Tootsie Roll. And he said it all the time. So it was something that kind of stayed with you. It was something memorable in that dance so that when you got to that part of the dance on a different wall, you would remember it. So that being said, moving into the circuit, going to different choreographers' lessons and different instructors' lessons, you would hear the same thing. Guyton always had, say yes, say what, say maybe. He always had those things that you would repeat back. And I still use those things. A lot of other instructors still use that. But there's just different things that people pick up and use from other instructors. And faster, smoother was something, I think I had heard Kip say it like one time, and I was like, I like that, and especially whenever you're teaching, because you're teaching something generally slower. You're starting slow. You're helping people get the timing, and then I always say a little bit faster, smoother, a little bit quicker, a little bit faster, smoother. That's something that just always kind of came out when I was teaching, and it just stuck, and I figured it was haven't really heard anybody else use it, so I figured I'd kind of make it my own and try to, make that mine so that it stuck with me. People could hear that and go, oh, that's Trevor,
Nice. And I did see your post the other day. I know you got some brand new FS Dance shirts in. So for the people out there who would like to model the FS Dance logo, get a hold of Trevor. I did put underneath his name his social media handle. You can contact him, find him on Facebook, Instagram. all those nice things for you can buy one of those awesome shirts for you can model the FS dance all over the place whenever we get back to not being stuck in our homes. Hopefully it's sooner than later. So
yeah, I'm actually I'm working on a website right now. I'm hoping to have it up this week. I'm hoping that by the end of the week I can have it up and running. I've already got the basics down. If anybody knows how to do web design and wants to offer their services because they're all so busy sitting at home, feel free to reach out and let me know because I could really use some help. I've been working on it and it's very generic. So I could use some help with making it a little more creative and actually getting some of the stuff to work. But I'd like to put my shirts up there so people can go online and they can see, a variation of different things that they'd like, including all the shirts. And there are different colors, different sizes, different fits, all that good stuff. Because I've learned from the first couple batches of shirts, people want different fits and sizes and styles. I got a whole bunch, so.
Yes, JP, we know Trevor needs a website. I'm working on it, buddy. And also, JP, he did get the girls' tank tops in just for you. So that way Friday you can get one there by Friday and you can wear it for the show.
Yeah.
So, yes, Susan Webb, that dance that I was talking about, Cripple Creek, does have Apple Jacks in it. That is the one, the same Cripple Creek that Kip Sweeney did. All right, so what do you got? What do you want to leave us with? We're about hour's about up. I was leaving this to almost an hour. Anything you want to say to the people at home?
Oh my goodness. I don't know, man. I really appreciate everybody tuning in and watching us, and I appreciate it. And this was a lot of fun. I hope we get to do this again soon. And I would just say for all of you guys who are watching and are going to continue to follow the highway, the Honky Tonk Highway. Is that what we're calling it?
That's what I named it.
Yeah. So those.
I know you figured out why. I know you figured out why I named it that.
Oh yeah. Yep. I love it. I would just venture to say, like, really try and get creative with your questions because even though some of them are like really scary at first for us, instructors, choreographers, anybody, it doesn't even have to be an instructor or choreographer. Anybody, we as people and humans like to be challenged with different things. We like to talk about that kind of stuff. So, I would just challenge people to come up with something creative and unique and ask, get your questions together. I know Kelly you'll be posting, who you're going to have coming up. And I would just say, have people ask some stuff to where questions that allow the person responding to really dive into it. And you can get to know them a little bit better based on that question,
Yeah, definitely will have it. I have been posting it. The next ones up are scheduled are Wednesday at 5 with Big Jim, Friday at 5 with DJ JP Potter. I already got some lined up for next week. If we get a good enough response to want to keep doing this, I'll move it from 3 days to 5 days. Trevor, real quick before we take off, I've been getting bombarded. Everyone wants to meet the dog. Everyone wants to meet Brooks.
Oh, everybody wants to see Brooksy?
Everyone wants to see Brooksy. So if you will go get Brooks real quick.
1 second, I'll go
not
get
a
him.
problem. While Trevor goes get this Brooks, just want to thank everyone for tuning in and watching the first episode here. Yes, Janice, all his shirts will be on his website once he gets that up. And now Brooks is back. There's Mr. Brooks, Trevor's dog.
This is Brooksy.
Now everyone at home will be happy. Everyone's been asking where the dog was. But I just wanted to thank everyone for tuning in. Thank Trevor for coming on the first episode. It's been a dream of mine. I wanted to do this for about a little over a year now. I wanted to put something like this together and decided to take a shot at it while we're all quarantined. Like I said, I will do 3 of these a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. If we get more response, I'll gladly do 5 days a week. I will gladly talk to everybody. If you want to come on, message me. If you have questions for my guests, send me a direct message, send me an email, hashtag askthehighway. Comment on this post, hashtag askthehighway. I will gladly ask these people anything you want to know. I don't care. I will ask them those crazy questions. Ask Trevor. He's one of my best friends, and I didn't hold back, did I, brother?
No, not at all. I think a really cool little challenge, and I mentioned it to you earlier, but I'll put it out there for everybody else to kind of comment and possibly help with. I mean, obviously, you're not going to be able to use it with me because you're just thinking of it. But I think it would be really cool and creative if maybe the dancers could help with this and the followers. I mean, maybe you're not even a dancer, but you're a follower of Seven Arrows Media. I think it would be cool if you were to be able to come up with 2 or 3 questions that are very specific, and you ask every single person that comes on your show. I think that would be something really beneficial and kind of cool to hear the different responses to the exact same question. You know, I think it's definitely cool that you have and you're allowing your audience to open up and ask anything and everything that they want. But I think that it would be kind of neat to hear, different answers to the same questions on everybody. You know, it doesn't even have to be an instructor. It can be anybody, you know.
Yeah, I'm definitely working on some of the questions I can ask, no matter if I have a DJ on here, event director, something that will go along the lines of all three. But I will gladly, hey, instructors out there, if you want to come on, send me a message. I'll gladly get you, we can work it out, get you on. I picked 5 o'clock. I know it's a little later overseas for the guys watching over there. I know Jose was on earlier, Shane, Paul James. I tried not to interfere with any of the actual line dance and virtual stuff that's going on. I know the social distancing's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and they don't have a 5 o'clock. I know the Streamline stuff that Daniel and Jose and JP Maj had hooked up, that doesn't have a 5 o'clock slot. So I tried to pick a time that would not interfere. I really wanted to make it where I wasn't trying to do something everyone was doing, but it also work out a time where everyone can tune in. Just to catch up. Question and answer. We don't have to dance, which is what everyone else is doing, but gets to hang out and talk to the people like normally we get to hang out and talk with anyway. So thank you guys for coming. Look, thank you, Trevor, once again. It was a great having you on my first episode. Tune in Wednesday, 5 o'clock. For those who don't know, Big Jim Stankiewicz, if you've been to an event, especially on the East Coast or a JC Dance Production event, you definitely know Big Jim. He is always at the door. I am so looking forward to Wednesday where we get to dive in and talk to him about a lot of stuff that he knows. Because let me tell you, that man's knowledge is going to blow your mind. But till then, hit me up. Hashtag askthehighway. Follow us, 7 Arrow Media, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We're still posting two walkthroughs a day. We're still posting a throwback every day at noon. Till then, see you guys.
See ya.